let's talk about the good old days of Phillies baseball. Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Phillies Failures with me, and today I'm going to be talking about the 07 to 2011 Phillies teams, right? I mean, some good times to be a Phillies fan. Unfortunately, I don't really have much memory of it, but we're going to take a look back and see what made that era so special. And I guess before getting into this video, please subscribe if you have not yet. Please hit the notification bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and let's get into this. Now, I do remember making a video this off-season talking about the failures of the Philadelphia Phillies organization, right? I talked a little bit about the 07 to 2011 era, the Phillies era during those 5 seasons, and it was a great time, right? It was just a great time to be a Phillies fan, and in 2007 when they overtook the Mets for the division, right? I mean, you had a game, the Phillies were playing in September. In right field they have the scores of all the other games, and the Mets were playing the Marlins, and the Marlins were ahead by quite a lot. You hear the fans just cheering randomly as they saw the Marlins were, way ahead of the Mets. Just, a very, very exciting time to be a baseball fan. And I'm going to talk about what made that time so special. As I said, I did talk a little bit about it, and I believe that was December. They made that video discussing the failures of the Philadelphia Phillies. But I want to talk more about, specifically just these 5 seasons, right? And I talked about this before. I've said it many, many times, over the past couple of years. I said, honestly, they should have gotten, more than just one World Series championship during that era, right? I mean, of course, they did win in 08, and honestly, they had a better team in 2009. With the addition of Raul Ibanez, with the addition of Cliff Lee, they had a better team in 2009. I'm going to say they had a better team in 2009, and they did not win. And honestly, I think what really hurt the Phillies in 2009, Brian Lidge, he was 48 for 48 in save opportunities in 2008. Followed up, at the 2009 season, very, very disappointing, right? I mean, not anywhere near his 2008, status. He definitely was a disappointment. But 2007, right? A season where the Phillies weren't expected to do a whole lot. Ryan Howard coming off of his MVP 2006 season. 2007 also a season where Jimmy Rollins wins MVP. Prior to Bryce Harper, the last Philly to win an MVP. And it's very interesting, right? Jay Rollins and Bryce Harper, the past 2 Phillies to win an MVP and not appear in an All-Star game. Very, very interesting. They both could share that. Kind of an interesting stat right there. But Jimmy Rollins, who was just unbelievable in 2007. Jimmy Rollins, 20, 20, 20, 20, right? 20 triples, 20 doubles, 20 stolen bags, and 20 homers, right? And, you saw that interview you had, I forget who it was with, with Ryan Zimmerman, getting his 20th triple of the season, when he slid into Ryan Zimmerman at third base. Can't do that today. But definitely a, fun time to be a baseball fan. You overtake the New York Mets. Iguchi with that great walk-off RBI against the Mets in September off of former Philly Billy Wagner to score Chase Utley. That was just an unbelievable come from behind victory. Ed Wade, who doesn't really get the best reputation in this city, I think he had a lot to do with this team, right? It was a big part, early 2000s of getting that team together. So I definitely think he gets a bad rap. I really, really do. Because if you look at the timeline, the 07 Phillies, that's when this reign started. Ed Wade helped develop a lot of these players, right? And you got Jason Worth, the guy who really, really just came to form when he arrived in Philadelphia. Of course, was prior member of the Los Angeles Dodgers, spent some time with the Blue Jays as well. But he really came to form when he went to the Phils. So this team, in 2007, of course, eliminated by the Colorado Rockies, but honestly in 07 they weren't even supposed to really make the playoffs. The Mets were supposed to win a division, and just making it was just so special. In 2008, what a year that was. A year that they were coming off of that, unbelievable 07 season. And honestly, I think going into 08, I don't think they expected to win a World Series. I'm going to be honest. I don't think they expected to win a World Series. You got some of these teams, like the Los Angeles Dodgers, who spent all this money, on their team. They go into the season. Of course, the past, I'm going to say, 9 seasons they gone into, expecting a World Series championship. And honestly, I think with this Phillies team, I think they expected to go deep in the playoffs, but I don't know if they expected to have, get a World Series championship. You have, Cole Hamels, face of this rotation at that time, who just was unbelievable. You had Jay Happ, really just go off in 07. You had Kyle Kendrick, who had a great rookie season in 2007. I mean, that was a young staff. You had Jamie Moore, who was almost like the pitching coach slash starter, who just was a great veteran leader on that staff. And as I said, Brad Lidge, how can you forget it? I mean, 48 for 48 in state opportunities in 2008. He was unbelievable. And this team was just very, very exciting to watch. Pat Burrell, that was his final season with the Phillies, and then he go on to sign with the Tampa Bay Rays in 2009, which is kind of funny. He signs with the team that his team beat in the World Series, which is kind of interesting and kind of funny. But Shane Victorino, also another guy that had one of the best hits in Phillies history in the postseason, right? That grand slam off of CC Sabathia. Shane Victorino, a guy that doesn't really hit a lot of home runs. You go take a look at Pedro Feliz, a guy that you really don't think of that much when you think of the 2008 Phillies team. But I also think that he, of course, everybody played a part, but he's the kind of guy that kind of flew under the radar. And I definitely think he was a solid third baseman for the Phillies in 08. And of course, you had Chooch, who had a great relationship with, the starting staff, and of course, just the whole pitching staff, for that matter. Ryan Howard just continued to, hit 45 plus home runs. I think it's interesting. Chase Utley, right? This is a year where he participated in the, home run derby at Old Yankee Stadium. Chase Utley, I mean, of course, the thing that's missing from his, really just a great career, is a, MVP. And that's something very interesting. Of course, J-Roll, some of his counterparts, J-Roll, Ryan Howard, both have MVPs on their resume. And of course, Chase Utley does not, which is very interesting because he honestly, arguably, maybe have had a better career than both of those guys. Definitely Ryan Howard, but Jimmy Rollins, maybe that's debatable. Of course, Jimmy Rollins is the all-time, Phillies hit leader, and that may be up for debate. Cole Hamels, your World Series MVP. He was just a horse that year. He really was. He was unbelievable in 2008 and led the Phillies to a World Series championship. And I think that they definitely were favored over the Tampa Bay Rays. Won pretty comfortably in 5 games. Of course, in 09, as I alluded to before, I mean, you get a little bit better. I'm not going to lie. I mean, you get Cliff Lee at the deadline. You have Pedro Martinez, of course. That was kind of not the washed-up Pedro Martinez, but at the end of his career, right? Raul Ibanez comes in to, replace Pat Burrell. Definitely an upgrade over there. Of course, no disrespect to Pat Burrell, but this was a better team. And of course, Jimmy Rollins wasn't as great in 09, but the Phillies just ran into a very, very good Yankees team. A very, very good Yankees team that just was stacked, right? The young Robbie Cano, right? They had Melky Cabrera at that time. Just a good Yankees team. They had CC Sabathia. That was CC Sabathia's first year at the Yanks in 2009. Playing in their new Yankee Stadium, that's when it opened in 2009. So they just ran into a very, very good team. And it's a shame. I think if they would have played a team like the Tampa Bay Rays, like they did in 08, I definitely think I'd be saying the Phillies, had back-to-back World Series titles, 08 and 09. Unfortunately, they fell short. They were the National League champions, back-to-back years. So that's something to still be proud of. Of course, then we send, Cliff Lee away in the 09-2010 offseason as we send him to the Seattle Mariners. And then in the middle of 2010 season, the Seattle Mariners traded him to the Texas Rangers. And of course, we got him back in free agency to 2010-2011 offseason. I think trading away Cliff Lee was a big mistake. Ruben Amaro Jr. even talked about that before. But in 2010, right, you get Roy Halladay from the Toronto Blue Jays. This is your final year with Jason Worth. This is still, a very, very competitive team. You have Roy Halladay throwing a perfect game against the then Florida Marlins. You have him throwing a no-hitter in the NLDS against the Cincinnati Reds. But unfortunately, the Phillies, were again struck down by a World Series winner. Of course, they were eliminated in the championship series by the San Francisco Giants, who would go on to beat the Texas Rangers 4-1 in the 2010 World Series. It was very unfortunate for the Phils, they definitely had a shot at winning this. Of course, they lost 4-2. Ruben Amaro Jr. said in the past, he said, I delayed the 4 aces, right? I mean, of course, we had, Roy Oswalt at this time as well. And then I forgot to mention Roy Oswalt, a big name in this Phillies rotation. Honestly, I think our starting staff was better at this time, undoubtedly, than in the 2008 World Series championship season. No knock to guys like Joe Blanton or anything like that. But in 2011, the final season, of course, we lose Jason Worth to the Washington Nationals going into the season. But this is the last season the Phillies will make the playoffs. Still, I mean, of course, we get Hunter Pence at the 2011 trade deadline over from the Houston Astros, who were still in the National League at that time. Just a horrible way to, end the season, with Ryan Howard, tearing his Achilles, the St. Louis Cardinals celebrating on the field. I mean, we got the most wins ever in the regular season here in 2011, which is very disappointing. Of course, we got knocked down in the division series. We should have went much further than that. And again, this is another scenario where the Phillies should have gone much further. So yes, it proves my point. The Phillies should have won at least 2 World Series during this time. I mean, of course, thankfully we got one. I'm not going to complain, but they definitely should have gotten more out of this era. I mean, just winning one World Series over these 5 seasons. I mean, the teams that they had, let's say they wouldn't have won in '08. I mean, imagine how disappointed I'd be, sitting right here. How disappointed I would be. But at least they got one. But honestly, they should have gotten much more. They should have gotten much more. And honestly, looking back, watching videos, it was just such an exciting time to be a Phillies fan. Good Phillies baseball. Good Phillies baseball. Things would never be the same after Ryan Howard's tore his Achilles. That was the downfall of the Philadelphia Phillies. Of course, not just that happening. That kind of marked the downfall. As a point of reference, of course, we were kind of on the downtrend after that season anyway, even though that was, in the regular season, statistically, the most wins we ever got in a regular season. So, as I said, we should have gone much further than that. But still, this is a great era, one of the best eras in Phillies history. You have the 93 Phillies team that fell short in the World Series. I made a video about that. Got like the early 1980 Phillies era, which is also very, very good. I don't know. I mean, in 1983, maybe they should have won. It's tough. The Orioles team was pretty good. But definitely, some heartbreakers in there. So, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you have not yet. Please hit the notification bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video, check out the social media link in the description section. Phillies Still Media, Instagram, Telegram, Instagram. Follow me on Twitter at @Media. Call or text 267-225-3392. Email me, philliesmedia@gmail.com. CBA, please just get it worked out. I'm just so tired of this. I'll see you on Saturday for the weekly update. It should have been the first game of spring training if the owners and the players weren't doing what they're doing, but it is what it is. I'm Luke, and I'll talk to you later. I'll see you guys.